Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome. It's been a while, so welcome back me. Finally have gotten all my shit together, so to say. But, yeah. We'll be messing around with some organization, and I don't know if I'm going to start something or not, but we'll see. Let's see what this... Oh. This looks terrible. Hold on, I need to fix something here. How do I make it not? Oh, like how I said I have my shit together and I don't. So it's how do I make it not be that bad? I apologize for the delays. Here, hang on. Should I just do the full screen? Oh no, I don't want to do that. Well, I think I'm gonna have to change this. I think I'm just gonna have to do the whole thing. Can I like crop it? How can I? No, I guess we're doing that. Yeah, we're doing that. Oh, no we're not. I failed. This is lessons in OBS right now. That's what we're doing right now. Oh, you're just gonna see the whole window, I guess. That's cool. Well then. Now that I figured that out. This is my new gigantic screen. It probably doesn't look as gigantic on yours, but it definitely allows me to see a lot more. Hopefully you as well. We'll see about that. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, full screen for me is different than you. But hopefully, let me know, please. Let me know what it looks like. I would like to get that sorted out because I intend heavily to do more streaming if I can help it. While we're on the subject, I'm going to show you a track I'm messing around with. New. Record. Yeah, I got everything I needed. It's a lie, I did record something. This is a track I'm working on. It's really a kit, honestly. I highly recommend if you do find kits with like, you know, loops, couple synths, some MIDI, definitely MIDI. Even though it's the same melodic structure, notes, things like that, you can manipulate MIDI different ways. In fact, I think I have the kit right now. Hold on. If you're ever curious, right click on a sample and you can show in browser, and then you can find it in your browser. Look at that. So this is the original bass. No, I don't want to change it. So here's the original bass. And that's complicated. Alright. Well, shorten it, simplify it, make other things happen with it. That's where you can get manipulative with it and kind of make it your own, in a sense. I took the original bass loop as well, and if you go into the envelope section and change the clip volume, you can mess around with it to make your own kind of change it in a way, turn it into your own kind of thing. And then this one I have it playing out normal, so I have it a little layered. The synth was just a single note, and I found I have what is it? I can't remember the company that makes it. I'm sure it'll say on here. Cable Guys Curve 2, and I found a B Party, which is actually, you know, the most common thing to do is to name the track title of a song as a preset patch name. I followed suit with that. This is actually a really cool patch, in my opinion. It originally had some added percussive elements to it along with the normal B Party, whatever. But I really like this. It fits really well. This is, even though it's part of the kit, what's interesting about it is the kit, which was just a drone single note tone, and I took a preset and made it, you know, that preset gave it some life. It even adds a little percussive element to it as well. That little reverse cymbal. It's nice. Stab loop, pretty self-explanatory. Yes, I sausage fattened it because it was very quiet. I mean, that's quiet compared to everything else. Sounds a little rough too. Kits are like cheating in a sense, but at the same time, it's very helpful for getting used to structure and how you're gonna set things up, and can actually really help in the long run. Because when you start coming up with your own original sounds, even down to creating your own stabs and vocal chops and vocal loops and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, drums are self-explanatory. It's pretty common to have, you know, your basic 4 on the floor, upbeat hats, claps on the 2 and the 4. You know, give it some swing with some shakers, or, you know, add some tom fills here and there to give it some kind of groove, or, you know, or an extra clap on the and of the 4. You know, like what this clap loop does. I mean, that's easily programmable. And when it comes to, bass loops, find a good sub groove bass. Same shit. It's just kind of done for you already. And kits are depending on the kit, if it sounds good or not, you can use it to slap it together, or you can find multiple kits and intermix. I've done that plenty of times. They're just fun to mess around with, play around. Like I said, it's kind of cheating, but I mean, samples are technically cheating too, so these are just extended samples, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm gonna play around with that later on my own time. What was I gonna do? Kind of forgot now already. Well, we'll see. Mess around with that. Ooh, that we could do. Well, he said to keep that a secret, so never mind. That's not what I want to do. Well, I will. Let's do a little experimentation here. Let's do a new live set. Actually, better yet, for those who play around with some reason. Rewire is my best friend. Okie dokie. So, I wonder if y'all can see that. Yeah, you can. Look at that. Okay. For those that are not Reason users, you can skip ahead. I will try and annotate or do whatever in the comments for where you should skip time frame wise. I'm just gonna do a quick rundown of how I have my setup here. So if Ableton's always going to be your master, Reason's always going to be your slave. Unfortunately, I've tried to do it the other way around. It's not possible. I don't know if it's like a rewire algorithm thing that doesn't allow Reason to be a master or not. But one other thing, if you have options text file and you have like no rewire or something, I forget the exact title, but if anybody knows what the option text file is, you'll understand. Don't have that, obviously, because you want to be able to rewire. With Kong, I've actually set up a drum rack, so I have 16 pads that I have normal, whatever samples I have in Ableton, and then I have 16 other pads above it for the 16 pads in Kong. And essentially, I've just taken a pitch device on each external instrument leading to Kong, and then that sends your MIDI data. And if I hit the Kong pad over here, you can see it light up over here on the Kong. And I just went up in pitch and literally played until I figured out which which semitone worked to trigger the next pad. Took some time to set up because it really was just trial and error to find it and figure it out. But as you can see, it plays each and every single pad. Alright, and then the input, as far as audio, the first pad, or actually all of the pads, don't have inputs yet. But what you can do is you can tab around to the back of the Kong. I've got already set up in my template on Ableton. I've got Reason, channels 1 and 2, selected as my input. So I got Reason, and then I've got all these channels, blah blah blah. So mix left and right here, right? And then I could say, for instance, if I want 3 and 4, I can go to 3, whatever input, and then bam. Well, actually, rather, I'd want to select the pad, so audio input. Since I already have something going to 3 and 4, which is the grain, my 3/4 output here on a Kong is 5/6 there. In fact, for fluidity, we'll just do that. And then if I want drum, the first Kong pad to play out. Blah. Oh, that's not gonna work. I tried to record myself saying blah. Did not work out the way I intended to. Let's browse the sample here. Oh, what's going on there? Why am I not? What? Uh-oh. There we go. There we go. So now I've got this. You can't hear anything because it's not set up the way it's supposed to be. And so what I gotta do is drum output, bottom, 5/6, input, 5/6. Bam. Now we have input and audio. It's perfect. Even better, which right now you can't see because I have my camera set up, but on the push 2, because the drum rack is just 126 pads, 128 pads, excuse me. What is normally like the pitch wheel and mod wheel strip on the left, you use that on the push 2 to pick your set of 16 pads, right? And so I use that strip to figure it out, and then the little bottom left 16 pads is each drum. So I'm selecting different. So with push 2, I have complete control through Ableton of Kong. And I can play my sample. Running both programs at the same time and having push 2 all in one, intertwined, can put a damper on my CPU a little bit. Won't lie. So it's really hard to actually have a ton of tracks going at the same time. It's kind of where recording and bouncing tends to play a lot. And I don't tend to have too many instruments or instances of instruments in Reason when I play out. Because it's in rewire mode, the clock sync for tempo and everything and the transport buttons all work with Ableton. So I have an extra set of transport buttons using Reason so I can record as well. And my loop function is the exact same as well. So if I were to go to the transport of Reason, which is technically F7, my loop is exactly the same loops as Ableton, and if I stretch them out, they change. Oh, okay, there's another update. Oh no. Okay. In terms of, oh, that's right, I take out my rack because I don't really use the mixer, the sequencer, and that's the other thing with Reason. You can just take the rack portion out of the out of the 3 and just have that be your deal. For Reason users who use like 4 are pretty common, with just having one rack go all the way down, instead of the addition of the multiple racks and stuff like that. Because you can expand it out like so. I don't use the expanded simply because it doesn't fit on this side of the screen, monitor, whatever you want to call it. So I just use the one rack to scroll through, and then I can take the browser out when I want to, but I usually keep it on. That way I have access to everything, because I have the browser open over here too. When I don't have the browser and I don't have this, I have a lot of workspace with this monitor. So, and because of that, it probably looks really small for everyone that's watching this stream. My apologies. With that, as I was describing with some experimentation, I have not touched grain, and I need to do that. And I think at this point, this is where I'm going to have everybody join back in. So welcome, people who skipped the reason portion crap of the stream. And if you didn't, well, hello again. I'm using Reason 10 in conjunction with Ableton Live 9.7. They work extremely well together. Again, I was just saying just a minute ago, does have an impact on my CPU performance. So there's a tendency that I will record or, bounce out a lot of my stuff that I port in from Reason, especially because I also don't want to open, when I'm doing my final mixdown, I don't necessarily want to open both projects at the same time. I use Reason more as a glorified VST, but the problem is that the VST doesn't load every single time I open up Ableton. So a lot of times I just record and sample out Reason into Ableton, and then when I'm finally doing my final mixdown with whatever sound I use, that's when I actually use it. So to set up grain so that I can use the push 2 with it, I just need to add a external instrument to the MIDI channel. Take the output to be Reason, take the output to be grain 1. I don't use the mix channel, I just use the actual instrument. And then once I do, you can see I'm hitting keys on the push, and you can see the data coming through and the light indicating that there is MIDI input and the envelope doing the envelope thing. Okay. Nice thing, if you have Wave or AIFF, you can, I have mostly Wave. You can drag and drop out of Ableton into Reason, which is nice. So a lot of all of my sample, categories and libraries, which, you have in here on the browser window here as well, but and there's loop and drum supplies that Reason provides, and factory sounds and all that good stuff, but they're more dedicated towards Reason stuff, so I drag and drop them into Reason. But with my sample libraries, sometimes it's a pain in the ass to try and find my sample library in Reason, so I just drag and drop out of Ableton. It works universally, right? Then I have my last thing I need to set up on my external instrument is channel 3 and 4 input, because that's how I have grain routed. Right? Grain output. Oh, no. 7 and 8. Quick, I don't know why I didn't do this. If you play the note on, play the note, waiting for output, as far as what you're trying to get. How'd my instrument go? Did I just delete it? Son of a bitch. I did. What in the hell? Okay. Grain 1, input. 7, 8. There we go. Let's do spectral grains. That sounds just like the one. How awesome is that? Original sound. New sound. Ooh, I want to be in choosing a scale right now. So, actually, better yet. Yeah, experimentation. Ooh. That was the original sound. So, after all of that, what do we do with it? Well, let's record. Better yet, why don't we take audio? Let's do this. Let's not take the audio input from this. Take an audio track and have that be the input of Reason 7 and 8. Okay. Then we can turn this off, keep that on for monitoring. Turn that on. Whoops. And record what we hear from. Take looping off. So we get the tail. Okay. Now we have kind of our drone sound here. Turn auto. We're not recording anymore. We can actually take the input off. Pro tip, save CPU space every time you're not using an input on an audio track. Take it off. If it does not need it, don't use it. I have one track that has Reason input all the time, just simply because by default it goes to the main audio output. So the master comes out to the main out. So anytime I add something, I can always hear it. I just have to go in depth and change it and do a little extra routing when I actually want to record or something. But for the most part, I can always hear it. And then I have a micro boot, which is always going to be channel 5. So if I want to record the micro boot, then I can do that. But I don't even have the synth right now because a friend's borrowing it. But yeah, so I can manipulate this now in Ableton. I technically don't even have to have Reason open if I don't want to, but if I want to go back and make changes or change up the sound a little bit or re-record it or whatever. But I can find that point. Perfect. Don't necessarily really want that part. I kind of wanted the... And then I can add a fade to this. In fact, I can crop it. And then I can fade it. So take clip volume, bring it in a fade. Put the point way too much over here. And in fact, hold Alt, give it some curve. Here's where we can get a little fancy, right? So I have 9 bars. Obviously it stretches through most of it, right? And then I can say, rename this. We'll do choir C. Put it in the key that it's actually in. Which I put it in Dorian. Alright. Yeah. And And then what I can do is I can pitch it. It's still technically in key. It's 2 semitones. Give it a third. No. Sure, that'll work. If I want to get crazy with it, I can, take cuts, chop it, reverse it, do all kinds of glitchy things with it, and then throw it on top of a beat. It's one thing. Yeah. Tell you what, let's do this. Let's 3 ways to save your samples. So under your current project, every time you start a project, there's a temporary folder that's created, which I highly recommend to conserve space. Go into your preferences, file folder, and under your temporary folder, change it to something else other than your C drive, because your temporary folders will start to back up and take up a lot of space. You can delete them afterwards, but if you don't, there's a few things that you don't want to delete or you want to go back to and clean them up later, you can do that, but it takes up a lot of space. So I have mine set up to my 4 terabyte data drive, where I have my live recordings and here's all my temporary projects, right? What temporary projects do is everything you record, sample, crop, process, all of that gets thrown in a temporary file, a project folder, and then as it's untitled, collects all of that data and keeps it hidden temporarily until you save. And all of those recordings and crops and processes that you do get saved in there, and then once you collect all and save, it collects all of that sample stuff and then throws it in the actual project that you have. But at the end, it'll ask you whether you want to leave them in place or delete them, and that's referring to the temporary project file. If you delete it, then it just goes away, but if you leave them in place, that's where they stay. So you have like multiple copies. I say this because in current project, you can actually go through and take out all the samples that the actual original recording, even after I cropped it, or the processed crop. Right? So I can take this crop, I can rename it and say grain, choir CD Dorian pad from grain. Okay, and then I can take that, put it in my sample file. I'm going to put it in as a, I'll put it out here for a second. Let's figure out where I'm going to put it. There we go. So current project, take the samples, throw in an ambience, and now I have an ambionic pad sound sample thing organized in my one-shots. And it's no longer my current project. Because if I were to go show in browser, guess what? There it is. Sitting in my ambient one-shots. Cool. That's how you can organize and save all your samples while you're working on a project. And then I can just delete this and now it's no longer there anymore, or undo it, whatever I want to do. Here's another cool thing. So let's say we crop this again. Now it's its new file. So here's in current project. And then we chop, do whatever. So this particular chop I want to reverse. just for the sake of and to save time. So now I know I'm in D Dorian, because that's exactly where that sample's coming from. So now I can throw in another instrument or whatever. I didn't realize I threw that on a MIDI track. Oops. There we go. Oh, something I haven't shown you guys yet. So this is my Logitech G13. This is exactly what it looks like. Just imagine palm size, right? So as you can see, there's 22 buttons, and I have my buttons macroed. So it does all of the different keyboard shortcuts on Ableton. So if you want something that helps your workflow, highly recommend getting something like this. What's cool is that you can set it up different profiles. So like even if you game like I do, you can set up different profiles to use it for different applications. So it's not just Ableton or simply gaming. You can have multiple profiles or different, and then you can actually select the profile you're working with on the G13, because it actually comes with an LCD display and a select button that you can choose between what you're working with. The cool thing is you can have up to 3 different sets of 22 buttons. So I use this for the main part of the application. This is more quick editing, copying, rename, pasting, that kind of stuff. And this is for quick selecting. So I can delete, I can hit the up down button, control delete really deletes things. So this is good for not only Ableton but Record Box. Left click, just a quick left click, and shift control, enter, things like that. So yeah, this is what I use for quick editing and the arrangement mode. Highly recommend. It takes a little bit of getting used to. I'm still getting used to it, and I've had it for a long time. So, but these are like, the G13 is like $45. Does wonders, lots of wonders. Anyway, so you see me doing like weird quick edits. That's exactly what I'm using. You get used to the keyboard, but I always find it I don't have to use the keyboard too much. Anyway, where are we at here? As this long stream, this is gonna be like 45 minutes. Sorry, I gotta pull up my. Yeah, 45 minutes. 46, right on the dot. Yeah, screw it. Keep going here. I guess I could break it up. Should break it up. It's 3 in the morning. I don't have to go to work. But like I said, we know the key, so we can add whatever we want to add in here. I can take an instrument out of you know what? I haven't played with the radical keys yet. So now that I have my external instrument here set, I want it to go to default keys. I don't want the input. I'll take the audio input. This is still routed out to 7 and 8. Connected to default keys. Perfect. So take that. Done. Take this. Reason 7 and 8. In. We'll monitor it. That way when I have this selected, yeah. Perfect. Let's open up a preset because I don't know how to mess around with this yet. Ooh, LA Thick Roads. That sounds good. Still on the same scale. Oh, I gotta change this to LA Thick Roads. There we go. Ooh, sounds good. Okay, max for live. You guys are gonna freak out about this. So I have made, if I can find it, yeah. So here's a combinator. Controller. How fucking badass is that? So when I turn a knob, rotary 1 changes rotary 1. You put this before the external instrument, and as long as this connected to the external instrument goes to whatever combinator you're trying to control, bam, done. Hit me up if you want this, if you're a Reason user and an Ableton user. Highly recommend. It's really simple to set up, honestly. I'll let Max open up real quick, and you can see it. It's really just a basis. If you look at the patch, it's simply understanding which ones, so MIDI in, MIDI out, and then which CC control goes with what. So you get CC in 1, that's the mod wheel, to CC out 1. And then I go in here and I mess around with it and it changes the mod wheel. They're all just CC controls, CC values. And if it's not matching, you have to get it to match real quick and then you can change it. But yeah, it's fantastic. I also have something, I have a controller that I can also control the stuff that I have in Reason. I can also on push, I have got rotary controls on push too, because the instrument is mapped between the buttons. So yeah, it's all fantastic. Anyway, back to what I was doing. We can duplicate time. Control Shift D several times. Duplicates everything if you select the loop, and then you've got a whole bunch of stuff selected. Even better, let's go ahead and consolidate this. Control J, we've got that consolidated. I'll take the loop marker here, and I'll duplicate time here. And as you can see, oh, that's it pushes everything out. So if you want to insert something, but you don't want to have to move everything else, Control Shift D, bam, duplicate it, push everything back. If I want to delete time, let's say I don't want these two bars in here. It is Control Shift Delete. So in that case, do that, and then it brings everything in that I want. Let's see. What else can I cover? Jeez. Oh, that's not the right MIDI. I don't like that Rhodes anymore. Let's get some electric love. This doesn't have a combinator. Get rid of that. Where's that? There it is. Let's take this, Control Shift M. Will be new MIDI. Ooh, you know what? I don't think I have that on here. Perfect. So take a highlighted portion, Control Shift M, done. Enter it. You have your piano roll. You can zoom in, zoom out. here's a trick. Take your sample, display, MIDI editor, preview, whatever. Hit your notes, and then you can hit the left or right arrows, and lengthen or shorten your notes in the MIDI. Fold them, and then what I'll do is make an arpeggiation. And I'll give this some delay. Haven't used the echo in a while. See what I can make of this. And then I can just loop this. I want it to be one bar loop. So again, here's where I can do some recording. I got Reason track 7 and 8 in here, so I can just play out. Of course, I need to actually hit record. There you go. Done. No input. All set. We can get rid of this MIDI data. And we can move on. I will leave it at that, actually, for the hour. So yeah, those of you that mess around with Ableton and Reason, some simple things you can do with sampling, editing, experimentation, especially with grain. I need to mess around with that so much more than I have. Yeah, pretty much. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm probably just going to keep streaming again another episode. If you want to stick around, if you're actually watching, which I doubt anyone is. Yeah, I think I'm alone. Look at me, all alone. But yeah, it's to be expected. It's 3 in the morning. So, peace.